Most variables represent objects. That is, they are nouns. Functions are a little different because they perform actions. You can think of functions as verbs. Let's consider some functions from dplyr for manipulating data frames. Select performs the action of selecting columns, and filter performs the action of filtering rows. Notice that the words select and filter are verbs. In fact, it's good practice that all function names should contain a verb. If you're stuck for ideas, this list should get you started. LM is perhaps the most high-profile, badly named function. First of all, it's an acronym, so you have to read the documentation to determine that LM means linear model. Secondly, it doesn't contain a verb. Thirdly, there are lots of types of linear model, and it isn't obvious from the name that this runs a linear regression. I prefer a more literal name like run linear regression. One possible counterargument is that run linear regression is more effort to type than LM. That's true, but there are some good reasons why that doesn't really matter. Firstly, the amount of time spent reading and understanding code is almost always longer than the time spent to type it. I'm a slow typist, but I can type run linear regression quicker than opening a help page for LM and reading it to figure out what the function does. Secondly, every modern code editor will autocomplete function names. In the DataCamp script pane, start by typing the name of a function and press Tab. You can select an option without having to type the whole function name. Thirdly, you can assign functions just like any other variable type. I find myself calling head a lot, so I define h to be equal to head, and it saves me a few keystrokes. As well as naming your function to make it easy to use, you have to put the arguments in a sensible order. There are two types of function arguments. Data arguments are the things that you compute on, and detail arguments tell the function how to perform the computation. For example, looking at the arguments of core for calculating correlations, x and y are data arguments, and use and method are detail arguments. LM has another problem. Formula is a detail argument, so data should precede it. Since data isn't first, LM doesn't play nicely with the pipe operator, and this code will throw an error. Of course, LM has an excuse since it was written several decades before the pipe operator existed. Since we've established that LM has problems, we can write a wrapper function. Run linear regression has a clear name, the data argument comes first, and it works with pipes. Time to name your own function.